This is Rob Hall for ToyHypeUSA. I am here with the one and only Todd McFarlane. I am so pleased that Todd was able to give me some time out of his super busy schedule.
Sure.
So I want to talk DC Multiverse with you because I've loved just about every wave that I've seen, and I've just been over the moon with it. One of the things that's impressed me
Before we get going, for people who are watching, if I didn't look like I'm paying attention, Big Bad Robert here, because I'm working on a Spawn Batman book and I'm going to be drawing and talking. So
yeah, I have to say I am totally super geeking out here because I'm watching Todd McFarlane create comics right in front of my eyes. But I'm going to try and concentrate and be professional about this. So one of the things that's impressed me most is how fast you can institute things that happen in the comics, in the figure line, like Damien's costume change, and getting the Ghostmaker figure out as quickly as you did.
Yeah. So here's the upside of being a small company, is that I don't have a lot of layers. I don't have to get a lot of approvals. It doesn't have to go through a big chain of commands or whatever. Right? Somebody comes in with an idea. They go, Todd, this looks super cool, and I go, ask DC if we can do it. Ask Warner Brothers if we can do it. And if they say yes, the moment they say yes, we're doing it, right? Because we've already done all of our approval by them asking me, since I own the company, that it's like, cool, let's do it. That'd be awesome. So that's all the vetting we need to do on our end. So one of the upsides of being small is that you become nimble, and sometimes there's a value in that you can get to market way before everybody else on an idea, because you don't have to worry about some of the impediments that otherwise big companies, especially public companies, otherwise have to do.
That's it's always impressed me. So one of the things I have to ask you, the Batman movie line, two things I was curious about. One, there was no Alfred figure and there was no Jim Gordon figure in the line. Were they planned and they just never got to production, or were you just more concentrating on doing just the sort of main
look at every lineup you do, you look at it and you give a grade to each one of the characters, and you give a value to each one of the characters. There's two grades you give them. One, character recognition. Obviously Alfred is high on that list.
Right.
Two, which goes with it, how cool do they look in package?
Right. And
although I understand that there are people that want people in trench coats, humans in trench coats, it's not as many as people who want like a cool toy, right? Whether that's a collector or whether that's a mom buying something for a birthday or Christmas, or whether that's a kid that just wants it for themselves, right? And so I have to weigh both of those against each other, which is why sometimes we'll do a toy that is based on something that maybe has only been in 2 pages of a comic book, but it looks really good, and it'll look good up on the peg, compared to something like Alfred, who's been there since the dawn of the mythology of Batman. So it's just those kinds of decisions. It's not very scientific. It's just, and of course we're always going to get people, whoever you don't pick, they're going to want. We usually, if there's success in a line, we usually circle around back and pick up the people that we left on the side just a little bit, because you do your first wave, then you do your second wave, and your third wave, and eventually, if you get to wave 3 or 4 or 5, you eventually get all the characters that are meaningful.
And then the other question about that line, you did both the motorcycles, but you didn't do the Batmobile. Was there a particular reason behind that, or?
Price points matter when you go in and you're trying to sell to retailers. There's two things. They don't really like selling a high-priced product, and they don't like things with big boxes. Why? Because they've got this whole thing they do, which is called sort of basically dollar per inch, dollar per foot, right? And they got this formula that's just math. And sometimes they go, that box takes up so much space, and it's only going to be $45, which is a good price. But in that same space, I could sell 3 $25 toys,
right.
and that would be $75 right. to the store instead of $45. And so they don't look at the art the same way you and I would, right? They look at it as a lot of times inventory in, inventory out, dollars in, dollars out, and the art part of it is less interesting to them. So those are products that sometimes will go up on like Spawn.com
right.
or McFarlane Toy Store or Amazon, or even sometimes even the big guys will come in and say, oh, we'll take it, but we'll take it only for an online exclusive
right.
or something like that.
For the record, I would have paid whatever you asked.
No, I know. There's a handful, but and it's even if they know that intellectually, because people do it with statues. People buy $300 statues, $400 statues. They don't carry $300
right.
statues in their store either,
right?
Because they just don't think there's enough turnover. They'd rather like turn over $20 items, $15 items all day long than $150 item or one $250 item or something like that. So
now I know you announced Avatar figures at the panel. Now Avatar is a huge license, DC Multiverse is a huge license. Do you approach them the same way, or is there a different approach you take for Avatar because of the different nature of the property as opposed to DC?
Yeah, so every license I try to warn my staff is its own creature, right? Mm-hmm. They have different people working there, they have different wants and needs, they have a different brand, and no two licenses are exactly the same. And so just because we do one thing for one brand, don't get used to it because it might not apply for the other brand, right? So just ask, brand A, the Avatar people, what they think will be successful, what their input is, what will get us approval at the end of the day. And none of what they say should have any bearing on any other property that we do. And so if I do something in Multiverse, it's not applicable to Avatar, and when I do something Avatar, it's not applicable to DC Multiverse. Other than trying to do the best quality we can at the fairest price. Right. That's the only thing. Like do value and price it cheap. Right? That's it. That's the only mantra that's there. Creatively, okay, what do you got? What do you got, James Cameron? You tell me. I'm not going to tell you. So.
Yeah, I have to say, speaking about price point, your Batman 66 line at Target are some of the most affordable action figures in a 6-inch scale that are on the market right now. But it comes, obviously, at the expense of accessories for those characters. So are you working on a way to get the accessories to the fans?
We've had those talks, and the way to do that is you just do an accessory pack.
Right.
And then you can get that product out and make it available to the people who want it, but it would probably be in a sort of online only sort of offering, right? Because we're not going to be able to sell it in the other spots. But we just had some pretty big success with doing a couple weapons packs,
right?
If you will, accessory packs,
right.
whatever you want to call them. That were like, hey, here's some weapons that might not have come with some of those characters for whatever reason. Here's a way to augment it if you want. But if you don't want, don't worry about it. You don't need it.
Right, and I read a lot of chatter once those accessory packs came out about people asking about, is this some way that you could possibly do the...
It's a bit of a workaround.
Right.
Yes. The answer is yes. And so it's just a matter of us deciding on whether there's enough demand for it for us to go out there and cut steel forever.
One of the things I love about Batman 66 is sort of how far down the rabbit hole you've gone. Like the announcement of Egghead today blew me away, and just from the slide in the panel, this face sculpt for Vincent Price looks incredible.
Yeah, and King Tut. Both of them, both of those faces I thought came out. I mean, even though they're small and they're sort of based on like how toys were made back then, which is less complicated and less articulation, I still want to make sure that the faces feel sort of mature. You know, I thought that the Batman we did with the Adam West mask on, I thought was really good. I thought it just felt very good. It felt right. And if you get the head right, people will forgive you for what you do from the neck down. And
the Eartha Catwoman was also spectacular.
Oh yeah. And the Julie Newmar Catwoman with the sparkly outfit and stuff, right? Just again, it just. I don't know. Every now and then, I mean, and I wish I would have that reaction to every figure I do. Right. But there are just certain figures sometimes that you just get, and you just go, man, that one's super cool.
Like it's really funny because you talked about it at panels before. One of the things with this line is you're doing characters that no one has ever done.
Right.
Or has only been done like once or twice. Like, I'm very excited about the Otto Preminger Mr. Freeze figure because I think the head sculpt on that is phenomenal. And, it's a particular shade of orange that his eyebrows were, and like it just looks right, and it's so impressive. And like as a fan of that show, like it's so great to finally get the toys that fans of that show have sort of been dreaming of.
We knew that doing the obvious characters were going to work because people have been doing them forever. Yeah. But to expand it, to really make it differentiate itself from others, what others have done, because you can go to eBay and sort of find like-minded, is you can't find the expansion of it, right? And although in reality, the more you expand it, probably the softer your sales are going to get because they're not, like I said, no kid's going to be walking up and down looking for an egghead, right? It's going to be goofy guys like you and I. So you have to temper that to make sure that you're not going too geeky, because once sales get too soft, then the retailers will shut that product off.
Right. And
then we don't get any of it. So I sometimes have to remind people that although, yes, we're doing another Batman or Superman, we have to have those characters so that the kids and the moms that are coming down the aisle and buy it will buy enough of those that will allow us then to do those other characters that you and I want.
Right.
But if we just do exclusively the characters you and I want, especially once we get past the A characters, then we're just going to be self-indulging.
Right.
And eventually, I know how that works. It gets shut off, and then you can't get the product back on the shelf again.
Now, I know that you had said, I had talked to you when the 66 line first started, and you had said that the ultimate success for you with that line would be if you're able to do everybody.
Yeah.
Is that still sort of the finish line stated goal with that line?
We'll know whether I hit that goal if we do like Goon 1 and Goon 2, right? So then you're going, wow.
If you do Aunt Harriet, it'll just be like...
Oh!
I have said to people for ages that if an Aunt Harriet figure is ever going to be made for the 66 line, you're going to be the person that makes it.
No, that would be cool. That's right.
I would love to see like because no one ever does them, but they're so important. Like the secret identity. Like I would love to see like just a DC Multiverse Bruce Wayne figure.
Just him as a millionaire.
Just him in like a suit, or like even like animated series style, like Bruce Wayne in the blue suit from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah. Like, no, there are those fun characters, and we'll get around to some, maybe not all, because at some point, you have to stay in business.
Like I'm dying to see Alfred in his green apron, quite frankly.
Right. No, I think and those might be online exclusive stuff.
Yeah,
you get Aunt Harriet and you get Alfred in the apron.
Yeah.
And maybe like who else?
Gordon and O'Hara.
Yeah, like O'Hara. Like that would be a good 3-pack, because those are like what I would call sort of the next tier down characters. Yeah.
And like I'd love to see like a Gordon and like even like a a Bruce and Dick in like sweaters or, you know, smoking jackets or something.
You gotta wrap it up.
Yeah. No, right. I know exactly the look that you're talking about. Those would be awesome. Those would be awesome.
Yeah, like with maybe like a study play set with the Shakespeare bust on the desk and the bat phone.
No, exactly. Right?
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
All right, well, I could talk to Todd for ages and ages and ages, and if he would let me, I would. But I have to wrap it up now because Todd is very busy. So I want to thank Todd again for squeezing me into his super packed schedule. Buy every DC Multiverse figure you see. Look for the Avatar figures soon and buy them too. You know, anything Spawn that you don't have already, buy that too. Keep this man in business because he makes great figures and I want him to keep making them.
Yeah.
Because I want to keep buying them.
You don't have to buy them all. Buy the ones you like, and we'll hopefully keep making more that you like.
If you're anything like me, though, you're going to buy them all. So again, Todd is responsible for everything McFarlane Toys puts out. His biggest upcoming project, besides continuing the legacy of Spawn, is Batman Spawn 2 with Greg Capullo. Freeze frame that. That is actual art from the issue.
Hey, what page is that? 14.
Freeze frame that. That is actual art from the issue. When you guys see this video, freeze frame that, because you just saw art before it actually got published. That is page 14 of Spawn Batman 2, which I can't wait for. Todd, thank you again so much. I really, really appreciate it.
All right, thank you for giving me the time today.
For Toy Hype USA, I'm Rob Hull, and there's more coverage from Comic-Con coming.